Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman ZX. In the last part, we lost Zero but gained Model ZX, and now it's time for us to enter our first main stage over in Area E. The plants, it's still active producing energy. According to the database, it's been offline ever since the Maverick raid. There's something fishy going on. Be careful, Ale. And, for the most part, while Mega Man ZX is set up kind of like a Metroidvania kind of game where you can more or less go everywhere in any order, the main stages themselves are all very linear. One thing I should mention, though, make sure when you enter an area you have the respective main mission there unlocked, otherwise you can get to the boss store and, well, it won't open for you. You need to have that area's respective mission in order to access the boss fight. Also, I should mention, in this area in particular, you're going to see a lot of, no, not a lot, a bit of stuttering in the audio. And I can do nothing about that, I'm sorry. I guess just due to how busy everything gets here every now and then. But this place can be kind of dangerous. In fact, overall, Mega Man ZX, especially with the order I tend to go, once you get to the main 8 stages, can be kind of deadly. Because a lot of things do a lot of damage, and there's a lot of things in your way. Helps that with the Zero game kind of style, with us, the Zero series and ZX, I'm a bit more reckless than I am in, like, Classic or X. Probably due to the fact I'm so used to handling them after all the playthroughs of 0-3 I've done over the years. Now, this stage is interesting because there are a lot of moving parts and little electric gimmicks that you actually have to avoid. However, you don't always have to do them, as I'm going to show off here. I believe you can just head directly to the right here and wall jump up, but I forget if that's true or not. It's been a while since I failed to do that all the way through. Now, behind this enemy, we have a pass-through wall. Now, this is entirely optional. You don't have to come over here at all, but I recommend doing so just to make things a little easier on yourself. Also, you keep seeing me doing the jumping spin slash. The way you do that in ZX is you jump with the saber equipped as your weapon, and then when you're midair, you press up and the button that it's responsive to. Something I actually did in between parts that I should mention is that I switched my control style around. I'm not using the Mega Man Zero system for this game from here on. I'm using the system where the R button functions as your second weapon. So now, for me to, like, say, charge my ZX Buster, I just have to hold the R button. Thankfully, the saber is still mapped onto Y because that just feels so natural. Now, something I should mention is that you can handle any of the first 4 stages in any order you want. I recommend going to this one first, though, for a couple of reasons. Also, I just did something interesting there. Mega Man ZX introduces a little gimmick you can do with the item pickups, namely the medium and large variations of any given power-up. You can hit them with your Z-Saber, and they'll split off into a few different power-ups. Item drops, rather. Usually, one of the thing itself and a few others. And here we have something rather important. Our first sub-tank. Like the Zero series, like the X series, sub-tanks, any extra energy that doesn't go into your life bar will go into that, and you can use it to restore your HP in total. That's another reason I recommend going to this stage first, because sub-tanks are pretty good in this game. Also, time for a mini-boss. There's a few of these in ZX. The main thing with this thing is that you're trying to avoid its giant spike wheel, and you can shoot it either in its cannon or its head. Main way I recommend going about this is charging up both types of shots, be it a saber or, both the saber and the buster, getting up close to the cannon on the bottom when it's available, and then going all out on it. If you're trying to actually just use the buster, though, like I tend to do here in this specific recording, stay as close as you can to the actual enemy so you can get the most shots in. One thing you're going to be seeing, especially in early game here in ZX, is that I take a lot of damage. Part of it is due to the fact that I relatively am inexperienced to ZX and ZX Advent compared to the Zero series. Namely because, even though I played them both a lot on my DS, I didn't play them as much as the Zero series or the Zero Collection. If I wanted to play a game in this style, I'm generally going back to 0-3 or 4. Because I think they're overall more refined games, because I love ZX and ZX Advent, but they each have their own issues that make me want to play the other two first. Oh, that looks kind of familiar in the background. What are these things? I saw one when Jiro disappeared. This signature... Cyber-Elves? Cyber-Elves? What's a Cyber-Elf? Sentient programs created with pure energy and made in the image of elves. I don't understand why there are so many of them here. That power plant. It must be using the Cyber-Elves to generate power. It looks like we found out what's up with this place. Unbelievable. Cyber-Elves are all sentient beings like the rest of us. Ale, please. You must shut down that power plant. Yeah, Cyber-Elves are back, in story at least. Unlike the Zero series, they play no part in gameplay. They are entirely there for story stuff, which I don't mind for the most part, because the Cyber-Elf system, 0-3 aside, was always kind of clunky. 0-4 tried its best to not be clunky, but due to some things in my eyes, it just ended up being just a bit clunkier than 0-3's. Still better than 0-1 and 2, though. But yeah, I take a lot of reckless and, honestly, at times, very stupid hits in this game. These cannons here, I believe, are entirely invincible. However, thankfully, you can use them against the enemies in order to get some damage in on yourself. Also, I've only now just actually taken a look in the background here and seen that thing going on. That's kind of weird. Now, we actually have something coming up here on the right. We're going to have some really tattered-looking blocks on the right. We can't do anything about those yet, but eventually we can actually come back and destroy those things. So keep them in mind for later. Now, if I recall the stage design correctly, we are coming up on the boss fight. I would actually recommend switching your main weapon to the ZX Buster for this, because the ZX Saber, while it can be good, is not as useful for what I want to do. Now, how did a little girl come wandering all the way out here? I should have known better than to rely on maverick grunts. You're one of Serpent's men. For a maverick, you sure are chatty. You've done your research. It looks like I can skip the introduction. However, make no mistake, I'm not just a simple puppet like those mavericks. I'm an artificial Megaman created to draw out the power of the biometal. I'm the Model H pseudoroid, Hivolt. Have no fear, it'll all be over soon. You'll just feel a little jolt before you sleep forever. Alright, time for Hivolt the Raptoroid, because they all actually have full titles like that. And Hivolt is a very agile boss fight. He loves to send electronic bursts at your way like this, going across the screen. Every now and then, he'll actually stop at the very middle of the top of the screen and shoot down a lot of laser beams. He also has a 1-2-3 slash that is actually surprisingly easy to dodge aside from the little shockwave he makes. And other than that, I think he can just charge across the screen in a couple different ways, and that's about it. Things you want to do, well, first off, there's also this attack, which just causes him to send several kinds of bolts all over the screen. Something you want to do in this boss fight, only use the Buster and aim for his legs, because something that the ZX bosses all have is a weak spot where you do extra damage to them. And in Hivolt's case, that's his wings. You might be wondering, why are you avoiding it then if it does extra damage? Yes, you do extra damage to him, however, it causes your victory rank at the end of the battle to be lower, and trust me, you want it to be as high as it can possibly be. In this case, and basically every boss fight's case actually, I'm trying to get a level 4 victory rather than like a level 1 or 2. And in this case, I was successful. The energy we've produced here is already well on its way to Lord Serpent. All that's left is for him to hack into the Model W core. Poor misguided fool. Your end draws near as a new age is beginning. And that's the first of the 8 bosses down. I am the biometal of the wind, Model H. Thank you for saving me, young hero. Please, I need your help, Model H. I have to defeat Serpent and prevent the resurrection of Model W. Do you think that will end this? Huh? All of this was started by a single man. Even if you destroy the Model W core and stop Serpent, what's to stop another madman from rising up and taking his place? How am I supposed to know that? What I do know is that Serpent is deceiving all of the people in this country. I'm the only one that sees through it. I can't just let this happen. Those humans we fought so hard to protect hundreds of years ago have been lulled into a false sense of security by the empty promise of peace. But I still believe our fight had meaning. So, young hero, yes, I will lend you my strength. Serpent has separated my data into two halves. There's another Pseudoroid with the other parts. If you can defeat it, I will be able to give you my password. And with that, Model H joins our gang, and we can actually transform using him. Now let's look at his design. Has nice little horns on him, has an H in his name, is electric elemental based off Hivolts, and this is in the Zero series timeline. Hello, Harpooya! All of the other 4 biometals we're going to be getting through the game are based off the 4 Guardians of Neo Arcadia. And Harpooya's is my favorite, because he can hover, he can dash in midair, both upwards and to the side, and he has a nice little 1-2-3 combo of his own, kind of like Zero's, the ZX models, even though it's not as strong. I love this thing for mobility purposes alone. Though its combat potential isn't too bad either. Either way, let's report our mission and get a green card key. Now at this point, we're going to take on another mission, but something that ZX does that's similar to the first Mega Man Zero is that the moment you clear a mission of a certain biometal type, the second one of it automatically opens. So I could go to save the people and go get the second half of Model H right now. However, the way I'm tackling this game is that I'm getting all 4 of the first halves of the biometals before I get the second halves. Now, in terms of the next mission we're tackling, let's think back to the Zero series for a second, because you might remember there was an element chain in that. Elements being basically the weakness order. There were 4 elements: Null, Fire, Ice, and Lightning. What we just got through Harpooya's biometal is Lightning. And because Lightning is strong against Fire, is strong against Ice, and then Null is off on its own little corner there, our next mission should be to take on a Fire Pseudoroid. Thankfully, Fight the Mavericks has one for us. Let's hear the description. The Office District in Area G is under heavy fire from Mavericks. There are several Guardians in the area, but they're calling for backup. I'm also detecting the presence of a biometal signature among the Mavericks. Head to Area G and face down the Maverick threat. Alright, let's take that. Now, in terms of where Area G is, if you check the map, we don't have it. However, someone did mention it when we were talking in Area C earlier. It's past Area D, the highway. So to get there, we want to head back to the Mountain Pass area and head through the little bonus exits and B2 to get to D1. In which case, we just gotta get back to where the Slither Inc. building is and where Jiro died. In which case, we can go through here to find another Transerver, as well as Area D3. This is one of Mega Man ZX's biggest faults in my eyes, though. More often than not, they'll just tell you to go find Area G in this case. However, they won't give you an inkling as to where Area G is in the actual text. Some of the NPCs will hint towards things like this, yes, but I think they should have at least given you, like, on, say, the map screen, a marker of where Area G is so you can at least get a general idea of what areas are around it in order to access it. So that's a bit dumb in my eyes, but hey. It's something I can get past at this point because I know the game well enough, but on our first playthrough, it's pretty annoying. And Area G is on fire. Now, something that I should go over now is that level 4 victory I got on Hivolts. When you beat a Pseudoroid, you're automatically given a victory level of 1 through 4. The way that determines the level is how many times you hit its weak spot. The more you hit it, the less your victory level is going to be. Since I didn't hit it at all, I got a level 4 victory. What that influences is, if you're paying attention when I was Model HX earlier, I had a little bar next to my health bar. That's your weapon energy bar. Weapon energy bar is used for that specific model in a case like this. Say if I transform back over to HX now, I actually have some weapon energy in it. You can charge up your weapons with it, and it'll have an extra effect when you have some weapon energy. Like in this case, charging up the Saber Slashes with Model HX will create a little electric ball that moves around a bit, which can also put out the fire because it's technically also wind elemental. It also has a use in something known as an overdrive. If you press the A button on any of the other 4 biometals that aren't ZX, they'll get some energy going around them, and it'll have their main elements. You just let me activate it for a second there, actually. It'll have their elements added to their main attacks. You're also just a bit more powered up in general during it, but you drain your weapon energy slowly during it as well. Ow, the other Guardians went further on to try and save more people. They were surrounded by Mavericks and haven't come back. Use this old portable Transerver. Please, you have to save everyone. Overdrive is something I actually recommend don't using too much in the main stages, but it's great for boss fights, especially the boss of this stage. I came here to try and help people, but I can't get through the flames. You could use the dash jump to leap over them. Please, do whatever you can to help the others. Now, I generally go after Hivolt because I generally like to head into this stage second, and this stage without Hivolts, without Model HX, is annoying. Mind you, it's just in general a very annoying stage, because the fire is actually very hard to dodge even without it. You there, are you here to help with the rescue operation? Beyond that window, one of us went inside to help, but the fire surrounded them, now they're trapped inside. If you stand in front of the window and press up with the control pad, you can enter inside. Alright, this is the main gimmick for this mission, you're just rescuing people. We came to help too, but we got surrounded by the flames. There are others who need your help in the area. Please, you have to help them. Oh, by the way, make sure you aren't transformed when you talk to the townspeople. Yeah, because there are townspeople in here. They will still be scared of you if you're not in human form. One thing I'm not clear about with this section is if you only need to rescue the Guardians, or if you can rescue... or you have to rescue all of them, rather. Also, one thing I should mention, the moment you get Megaman ZX model unlocked... I could have said that a lot better. Model ZX unlocked. You can't access Model X anymore on its own. Technically. I was too slow and couldn't escape in time. If you hadn't come along, I would become one extra crispy old man. There are a lot of others that need rescuing. What I mean technically is, if you beat the game, I think with both Vent and Ale on normal or hard mode, you can actually still play as Model X standalone when you get Model ZX. However, on your first playthrough with either, I believe you are locked into only ever having Model ZX. Not that it matters too much, but I guess if you want to play more like an X campaign than a Zero campaign, it's there. I suppose you also could just hack to have it, but no thanks. Ow. However, this goes into something interesting. Mega Man ZX has plentiful checkpoints. Almost every single door you enter is a checkpoint in and of itself. Thankfully. Overall, this game is actually a lot kinder than the Zero series in terms of checkpoints. Although extra lives are still a thing in this game. You can no longer permanently fail mission like you could back in like 01 and I think 02. However, extra lives are still a thing you want to keep in mind because getting a game over will reset you to the last save points. Thankfully, lives also reset in between missions. Why me? How did I end up in this mess? Hey, you there. Would you give me a hand? I'll make it worth your while. This is nothing compared to the value of a life. Please take it. It's yours. Some of the humans you rescue in here will also give you some energy crystals, health, all that kind of jazz. It is actually pretty handy because energy crystals are a pain in the ass to grind in this game. And that also leads into something with the victory levels. The more you go, the lower your victory level is, the less of the weapon energy bar you have to start off with. So, in this case, even though the energy bar for Model HX is about half my health bar, it could be lower. And the main purpose of energy crystals is to restore that bar at Flueve's lab. No, I can't find Bosch. Someone, please save him. You would go to Flueve's lab in the case you got like a level 2 or 3 victory, and you can ask him to repair your biometal for some energy crystals to have an increased weapon energy bar. It gets expensive though, like upwards of 1,000 per at times. It's just more worth trying to go for the level 4 victories. Even though some level 4 victories, in the cases of the fire suiteroids especially, are kind of annoying to get. Who are you? Are you from the rescue unit? Help, please. Sure. Thank you. I thought I was done for. One of the Mavericks that attacked this place stood out. He was terrifying with flames covering his body. He took several of the captives away. Be careful if you spot him. He looks very dangerous. I'm sure I could handle it. There are cases like this where you just want to split a lot of the larger power-ups, by the way, just so you can get some extra energy and such. It does become a bit of a conservation versus risk reward, I suppose. That was not the proper way to say that, but oh well. Either way, with that, thank you for saving me. There are other people trapped here too. You can reach the next building from the top floor. The sprinkler system controls are over there and locked. Take this key. You should be able to access them. With that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 5, we're actually going to be continuing on in Area G and fighting the Suiteroid there in the process, and then moving on to our next target. See you guys then.